Hey everybody, welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. I'm Alex McCarthy, Ed Magoni from Inside Indiana as well, joining. We are in the basement, or I guess the court level of Bankers Life Fieldhouse in a TV interview room. I really don't know where the heck we are, but we found a room to do this, and here we are talking about Indiana's 83-78 loss to Butler here at the Crossroads Classic. Indiana is now 2-1 against ranked opponents and 0-2 against teams in the state of Indiana. So, kind of interesting there. But Tom Crean, as soon as he came into the media room after the game, all he wanted to talk about was how poorly Indiana defended. They allowed Butler to shoot almost 50% from the floor, 47% from three, and he was obviously very frustrated with the way his team defended tonight.
Yeah, particularly defending the shot. He didn't think they weren't contesting the Butler shots well enough. And that was the point of emphasis of his press conference, was the fact that you can't just have a hand up. You have to get the hand up as the guy's in motion taking a shot. And obviously, IU left a lot of three-pointers go without really contesting them. So that was really frustrating for Green.
Yeah, and the main culprit for Butler was Keelan Martin. We ended up with a game-high 28 points. He was 5 for 9 from three. And just, there was a time there early in the second half where he just would pull up and shoot, and it seemed like he would make everything that he was taking, and he was just able to totally dominate Indiana. He turned it over 5 times, but he still was the big kind of driving force between Butler, holding Indiana off, or I guess building a lead and then holding Indiana off early in the second half.
We discussed this earlier. The two teams came in almost dead even on three-pointers. One was shooting 39.8%, one was shooting 39.9% for the season. They're both making 8+ three-pointers per game. Obviously, Indiana finished with 6 of 21, which is only 28.6%, and Butler ended up 10 of 21 from the field, and that's 47.6%, which is more or less the inability of Indiana to hit any three-pointers in the first half really threw off their whole defense. Is what Crean said. He said, they can't let their offense affect their defense, and they let it happen. And then they let Martin and a couple of other fellas get going, and that really got Butler rolling onto that big 14-point first half lead.
Yeah, and it was kind of the same feeling as last year at the Crossroads Classic, where Indiana was just really not doing anything very well in the first half, and got a double-digit deficit, like you mentioned, 14 points at halftime, and then early in the second half that rose to 16 points. But then IU kind of the shots started to fall. They made 3 of their first 5 three-pointers of the second half. They ended up making 6, obviously, in the second half in total. A few of those from James Blackman, 4 of them from James Blackman. He was just making everything down the stretch, and Indiana kind of chipped away at that Butler lead and ended up, Blackman had a shot that could have tied it with, something like 56 seconds left. And then he hit another 3 that I think cut the lead to 2. And Indiana they were right there at the end of the game, and then Chris Holtman drew up an inbounds play that ended up in a totally wide open pass to Tyler Weidman for a dunk that kind of, that was kind of the feel that the game was over.
Shot.
Yeah. And it was just, Indiana was right there, but just could not make a stop late in the game to save its life.
Yeah, and the turnovers didn't help either. I mean, Butler only turned the ball over 6 times, as Alex mentioned. That Martin had 5 of them. Indiana turned it over 13 times, which isn't even to their average on the season.
Yes, yeah.
But Butler manufactured those 13 turnovers into 17 points, which obviously made a big difference considering Indiana only got 8 points off turnovers. IU was able to control the backboard as they have almost all season. They out-rebounded Butler by 16 on the night and 8 on the offensive end, but they just couldn't stop Butler enough to get the win.
Right, and 24 of those rebounds came from IU's trio of sophomores, Thomas Bryant, OG Anunoby, and Juwan Morgan. And just some injury news with a couple of those guys. Anunoby played tonight. He didn't start, but he played 26 minutes. This is his first game since the North Carolina game, so he missed 3 games with a sprained left ankle. And he was okay. I mean, maybe not up to 100% necessarily.
Certainly wasn't himself in the first half.
Yeah, it did take him a while to get going. But he ended up with 7 points, 7 rebounds. He had his moments. He was 1 for 5 from 3, which obviously was not ideal in that sense. But Juwan Morgan started the game, and he apparently missed 2.5 to 3 days of practice this week with. I don't think Tom Crean said what injury it was, but he said that Morgan was banged up and missed some time and wasn't even cleared to play until this morning. But I thought Morgan played actually pretty well. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball very much, but he ended up with 10 boards, 6 points, 4 blocks. He was, with everything that Crean was saying about IU not challenging shots enough. I mean, Morgan blocked 3 in the first 10 minutes, I think, and I thought he was really active on the boards and everything like that. I don't know what the heck the injury was, but I thought he played pretty well despite that.
Yeah, and Crean also said, I know there was a lot of chatter on our message board about, how poorly Josh Newkirk played, particularly in the first half. But Crean said he didn't really mind. He said he made some questionable decisions at some points, but other than that, he liked the fact that he was attacking. He said, obviously not every shot went in for him. He said some of those shots go in, it's a different story. But for the most part, he said he would live with the mistakes as long as Newkirk stayed aggressive. And to his credit, he stayed aggressive in the second half and turned 0 points in his first half into 9 points in the second half and 4 rebounds. So I mean, he came back in the second half pretty well, rebounded nicely, but still, I mean, I thought he made some questionable decisions in the first half as well.
Yeah, especially like you mentioned in the first half, Newkirk was just, he took 11 shots, which, when you have, Rob Johnson only took 5 shots tonight, which is kind of unusual. You'd like to have Johnson shoot the ball a little bit more. I mean, he was 4 for 5. So, I think ideally if you're Indiana, you'd probably want some of Newkirk's shots going to Johnson, or to Bryant, or to Ananobi, or to, people who are just better shooters and scorers. Newkirk was 3 for 11 from the floor, and just, like you said, just got himself into some really bad situations, driving inside. He's not a big dude. He's just not going to really have that much success around the basket. So, yeah, I mean, they're, after playing a few, so-called cupcakes or whatever, definitely a big challenge for Indiana tonight. They weren't up to it, obviously, and there are a lot of question marks moving forward. So we'll see. Well, probably won't have too many of them answered in the next couple games against Delaware State and Austin Peay. But after that, it's Big Ten play, and after that game, it's Louisville. So we're going to start learning a little bit more about Indiana in the next couple weeks. But
we'll certainly find out how well they can take care of the ball against Louisville, because Louisville really pressures defensively, and obviously that's been an Achilles heel for Indiana this season, has turned the ball over. So that's going to be a real challenge for IU back right here in the same arena.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, but that's the next time we'll be here, obviously in a couple weeks. But for now, I think we're going to sign off here. Thanks, by the way, Ed. I think this is your first time on Overtime.
Yes, it is.
Wow. So
hopefully I'll be invited back.
Yeah, well, for that Louisville game, probably. So thanks for watching. For Ed Magoni, I'm Alex McCarthy, and we will talk to you soon.